and is very resonant for Destiny players and resonant for me as a person.
Resonance confirmed. Challenge accepted. Mr. Paxson.
When you're talking about 10 years of story, there's a lot of stuff crammed in there, and there's a lot of things that we could do and could talk about.
Yep.
But as storytellers, the hardest part isn't coming up with the ideas.
It's not gonna be easy.
The important ones. And that's
what is this? What am I looking
story
at?
is about. Not just for ourselves as the player, but also for our characters.
Every time I opened a script, I was like, what would I want to see?
Oh,
what would I
man.
want to hear?
Let us bring an end to your futile exertions.
The witness
Oh?
sees itself as
Exertions,
the one
huh?
true God. You're gonna speak to the witness, and the witness is gonna shine a light on some things, and you wonder, like, what would it be like? What would it be like to be a disciple of the witness?
Your guardian's use has yet to be determined.
Oh.
We're in need of a god killer.
Every time you hear the witness,
Oh,
you're not
boy.
just hearing one voice, you're hearing whispers in the background, you're hearing all of these other textures.
You're still resisting.
You can feel a subtext sometimes where the real witness comes through, or at least things that it doesn't want you to know about it come through.
There is only suffering!
Putting characters into
dang.
pressure cookers is what storytellers do best. And I can't imagine a more intense pressure cooker than it's the end of the world. If we fail, everything is frozen forever, and only we can do it. It's just the handful of us inside of a god.
Dude, these cinematics be looking good though.
It was a bit of a challenge because how do you make something surreal? For me, is putting familiar
What?
things out of context. What is the thing when you
That's
turn
crazy.
the corner that you are not expecting? So that's when we play with scale, we play with unexpected things, repetition.
There's this awesome piece of
That's
concept
cool.
art that is like this massive
Yeah,
ghost
show
on
me.
the horizon.
Show me.
And you just like go over there.
Oh my
and it's
goodness,
just, like,
dude.
broken down in the middle. And
That's actually kind of sick,
You'll
dude.
recognize it instantly, and then almost as quickly you'll realize you've never been here before.
I definitely feel like
Dude,
there's
the
some
scale is
aspects
nuts.
of the Pale Heart where like, this is freaking weird and scary. I want to take that risk. I want to push a little bit of what expectations of a destination can be.
Yes,
and I
please.
hope that players love
Yep. Yep.
As players progress, they get to see more influence of the witness, not just on the traveler, but also on the races that it's interacted with that we've seen so far.
The Dread are a result of the witness experimenting with the light. So while it's inside
dang.
the Pale Heart, it's able to access the light as it's trying to siphon it. It is using that light to create and alter new and different combatants. And so we've encountered some of these members before. Now we have a name for them.
Wait,
The
how,
new Dread
then how do they have the
units, we're
darkness?
Using a new language, collaborating with narrative. We went through and used this constructed language tool to generate different phrases and figure out like grammar structures and other things. The pyramid language that the new Dread units speak is actually translatable. So players, if they're really interested in figuring out what the pyramid units are saying, could decipher these. Kos yen itget, baktoku vakad. The husks are an interesting addition to Destiny because you've never fought anything like them before.
We talked about, oh yeah, there needs
My
some
time
big
has come.
weapons. Like, it needs to look like this thing is serious business. They wanted a bit of a secondary unit on it, so like a 2-in-1. As the sketches were progressing, we were kind of like, oh, this feels like it's sentient. And we just love the idea.
We had all these different sound effects in our library of water bladders that make some really cool sounds when they're shaken. We used some sounds of slapping jello
Ew.
too.
Oh.
So that was kind of the foundation for the husk. We have all these real physical sounds that
Oh, no,
come
I won't be able to
together
unsee that
and
now.
It feels like an alien moving around in the stomach of this thing.
Man, the quality of these cinema. Whoa, dude. This is really high quality. Okay. We gotta talk about that. Let's start with the narrative team. But they show the narrative team, and the narrative team does make a point of showing the fact that there's a lot of things that are kind of you know, that can get put into the story. But they also recognize that they do need to focus on like they need to prioritize things. And I know that might sound obvious, but again, I talked about it in the stream this morning, but I feel like Bungie has a track record of kind of shying away from big reveals or big points of, you know, information and context. And I'll give you an easy example, which is, because I know some people might be like, well, yeah, but like, you know, the Witch Queen had the witness at the end, you know? And I mean, yeah, fair enough, but like, then we didn't hear anything about what the witness actually was until Season of the Deep. And even then, I'm not even convinced that that cinematic was originally planned to come out with that season, right? So like, then there's the Veil, you know? They introduced the Veil, and they don't really, you know, it's more interesting to talk about the Cloud Striders and, you know, Callus and all that. And we're at this stage, and even perfect, the best example I will ever give you is Beyond Light. I said this in the morning stream. There's a lot of context that makes Beyond Light make sense as to why it came out the way it did. That being said, the fact that we got no information about the pyramids really sucked. It really did. And I think part of the reason why was because that was a really difficult topic to try and, I guess, eke out and explain and figure out and stuff like that. And it's a lot easier to make a fan fiction dark timeline that never happened. And that's just putting it bluntly. The reason why I'm saying this is because this is the one expansion where you cannot do that. This is the time for answers. This is when these guys, their back's against the wall. And they know it. And I think that's why this part of the Vidoc is there. They are acknowledging that we need to prioritize the big answers. And I think that that is hopefully what they're putting their mind to. The second thing that I want to talk about with this Vidoc is they really are showing off the quality of their cinematics. I went back and I watched, I kind of skimmed through the Lightfall Vidoc, and I noticed they really just focused a lot on the first and mainly the first cinematic. I mean, you can say the first and last, but they're kind of the same thing, right? Looking now at the final shape, the amount of cinematics. I remember, I actually recently, I would go back and watch the Forsaken cinematics, and I would be like, dang, you know what, man? We used to watch these and we used to take these for granted, and now, you know, we get like 3/4 of the stuff we get are just in-game, you know, cutscenes. They're not cheaping out. Now, granted, is this a result of the delay? Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it looks really good. This is high quality, okay? This is high quality. This is like movie, okay? Even this gameplay, this looks really polished. It does. This looks really polished. This looks very polished. There were a few times, actually, where I was like, just kind of garbling nonsense because I was like, what, dude, these are insane. So let's talk about the story, right? Let's talk about what they've actually shown. The first thing that I want to mention is that witness line, the line from the witness where it's like, you know, oh, your exertions, it's time to put an end to your exertions or whatever. Found that very interesting. We have this here. And I am curious as to what this is. But yeah, it nearly looks like, I want to say like a core of some kind. This is what I'm hoping it isn't. And some of you might agree with me. Some of you might disagree and be like, oh, he just doesn't want to see it happen. Get him, boys. I think the worst case scenario is this is the core of the Traveler, and literally the entire story's focus about the Traveler is this one thing. Whenever the witness is speaking about the Traveler or to the Traveler, it's just this thing the whole time. Your pale heart holds the key, and it's just this thing. That's it, right? That's the worst case scenario. There's no gardener, there's no light character at all. It's just this whatever. Let me also tell you why I kind of don't think this is the case. It's because we're not actually inside the Traveler necessarily, right? We're not in the machine. This is a paracausal realm. So, I don't know. You're telling me this is like the Pale Heart is like that planet from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with what's his name? Star-Lord's dad, and at the center of the planet is like the tumor heart or whatever that they have to blow up. Is that what this is? I hope not. I hope not. But either way, it does seem like you're getting a lot of corruption that's going on. This is something that I feel very mixed about. I have always maintained the Witness never gave a crap about us. Showed up, swatted us away like flies, went into the Traveler. And even, here's the thing, even in this Vidoc, they say, oh, we're just a blip on its radar. So now we have this scene where it's like trying to get us to join it. Yeah. And in my opinion, and you may listen to this and you may agree with me. You may listen to this and you may disagree with me. In my opinion, from everything Bungie said, even in this Vidoc, and then they're showing this, to me, this is more of desperation. What's more, though, is that we aren't necessarily special to the Witness, because we know that it's kind of done a similar thing with Mara. Not to the same extent, obviously, but yeah. So, in a way, I kind of see this a little bit as desperation, where like, okay, they're kind of getting closer. Let's pull out all the tricks, you know? Oh, maybe I can bribe you. You join me. So I'm a little bit conflicted about this. Just a little bit. That's very interesting. These are just people, dude. I'm really... And maybe I am again on the copium, but like I do think that we are going to see a revelation about the past of the Pyramid Race. Because this was all made by the Witness. This is in the Witness's territory. And I don't know why it would be making this for us, if you get me. That doesn't really... there's also the whole emphasis on the hands. I'm going to point something out to you guys. Maybe you'll find it interesting. Pretty much all the hands they're human hands. They've got 5 fingies, right? We all know 5 fingies. Cool. That being said, there was one moment in this trailer. There's a moment and you see like a massive kind of podium with a hand on it. That hand has 2 thumbs, which I thought was really interesting. I don't have an explanation for that, but I thought you would like to know. This might be, again, you may disagree with this, but this is just my opinion. I think that no matter what we get in the final shape, I really do think that Bungie is doing their best with this. I really do think that they are doing their best. And, like, especially these guys. Listen, do I agree with everything that these guys do, the narrative team? No, I don't. But I don't envy their jobs at all. And I am convinced that they are doing their best. And that whatever we get, it is what they think is the best for this thing, right? Here is where I'm gonna be controversial. To a certain extent, story-wise, we're talking about the story. What is the biggest answer that we're looking for? Do people care about the Witness's origins? Not as much as me, I would say. Most people, they just see, okay, Witness is the bad guy, Race had a golden age, became the Witness, we turned into a gun already, snip snip. Do people care about Aldrin and all that? Yes, but or Crow rather, sorry, and Cade? Yes, but like, if they weren't in this expansion at all, do you think people would be as upset? No. What is the biggest answer that people want? People want answers about the Traveler. We are in the Traveler. How many of you, right here, right now, no matter how long that you have been playing this franchise, have looked at the big white ball in the sky and wondered, I wonder what's inside that? I was 14 years old, dude. I was playing Destiny 1 when it came out, And like I played the beta, and then I think I joined like maybe like a month or so after it came out. And even then I was like, dude, I wonder what's inside. I remember in D2 looking at the Dark Shard, or the whatever it's called, the, you know what I'm on about, and like wishing I could get like a deeper, like we could go into the Shard of the Traveler to see more about how it works. We need answers about the Traveler. We need answers about the light. And I know that I am biased here, but in my opinion, this all comes down to what has been set up from the beginning, and that is the Gardener. That's just how I feel. If you're somebody and all you care about is killing the Witness, saving the big white ball, and, you know, seeing how Cade's story plays out with Uldren, or I keep saying Uldren, sorry, Crow and Zaval and all that, and that's a 10 out of 10 story for you, that's fine. But for me, when I look at the lore, and again, I made the unveiling video to show like all the things building it up, I really would like to see the Gardener. And I think, even though this team, I can tell and I believe and I am convinced they are doing their best for certain things in the story. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Because I'm not trying to be mean. Not trying to be mean. If we go into the Traveler, and there's just a big core, right? Where was this thing, right? The light tumor. It's the light veil, right? And the whole point of the story is to save the light tumor from the Witness. I may tell you, you know what, guys? This expansion was actually awesome. Like, the Paleheart destination is the biggest and the most detailed and in-depth destination we've ever gone. The Dread actually play really well. I would take them over Champions any day. They add a lot of variety to the enemy units, and it's great. The gear is great. The raid is the best raid they've ever made. The raid armor is the best looking armor they've ever made. The music is the best music they've ever made. Everything is 10 out of 10. But I'll tell you what, I was disappointed by the story. And I wonder if that's how it was actually meant to go. But that's just me. That's just me. I'm kind of rambling on now, but I'm just scared. I'm not scared. That's the wrong word for it. I'm a bit tense, right? Lightfall kind of came out of nowhere. The Veil kind of came out of nowhere. None of us ever saw the Veil coming. There's no way any of us saw the Veil coming. Bife, if Bife is like, what just happened? Then I don't think any of us could have seen the Veil coming. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think the Veil was part of the original vision. Okay? Okay. So when it comes to us going inside the Traveler, because I do believe us learning about the Traveler and going inside potentially was always part of the original story, right? How much of that is going to get strayed from? And again, it's about what matters to you. If you're somebody and you don't care about that at all, that's fine. But for me, I personally want to see as close to the original story as possible, because in my opinion, I think a lot of the lore is connected to that vision, and I've invested a lot of time and effort into that, and I'd love to see that get paid off. So when I see this, part of me is like, oh bro, are they gonna make the whole like Traveler thing just a gimmick where it's like the tumor and like, oh, we gotta stop the Witness from overloading the reactor, it's gonna blow. That's the worst case scenario for me. That's the worst case scenario for me. I'll tell you what my best case scenario is. My best case scenario, the Gardener is an actual character, the Witness has got her, and we gotta rescue her, right? That's my best case scenario right there. Now, maybe some of you are saying, or thinking to yourselves, but dude, broski, buddy Brewsker, the Final Shape Collector's Edition lore was great. And even you said it seems like they're going back to the way things were with Unveiling and the Gardener and the Witness. Dude, you have, you know, the Season of the Wish fusion raffle, talking about the voice on the other side. We have the Final Shape exotic helmet that's like the speaker's mask, talking about learning how to listen to that voice of the Traveler. Bife made that video talking about every time the Traveler's spoken. Even he brought up the Deepstone Crypt lore with the woman talking to Saint. Why are you worried? Well, the reason why I'm worried is because we got Lightfall. We got Beyond Light. We got the Witness, right? Even though the Witness has been explained over the years or whatever, the Witness kind of just came out of nowhere as a character, as a part of the story. So I guess my point is, in a very roundabout way, that I am very nervous that things will just kind of get put in just to explain things, just like this, right? It's like, oh, what's in the Pale Heart? Oh, well, the Pale Heart is actually this like a reactor thing that you see here, and that's the whole focus. That's my worry. Another worry of mine would be, for example, okay, and you might say, well, dude, unveiling. If you look at all the way things are going with the Final Shape Collector's Edition lore, and what Robert Brooks said about learning more about the truth of unveiling as we got closer, it seems like things are going the way that we had hoped, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're right, but what if unveiling was retconned? And you're like, okay, well, actually, so, the character in Unveiling really cares about us and really wants us to join them. And we made the Witness, and we kind of forgot about that, right? We didn't do that at all. We just had the Witness swat them away like flies. So how can we, okay, do you know what? We're going to make a really big point. We're going to make the Witness really care about you and really try and persuade you in the Final Shape. And then that's going to be how we also confirm that that is the same character from Unveiling. That is something that I would worry about, No, that might never happen. But these are things that I'm kind of, because again, it kind of counters what we've seen so far. This counters what we've seen so far. The Witness doesn't care about us. Again, in this Vidoc, they say, oh, we're just a blip on the radar. And then it's like, oh, I could use a God Killer. Again, a lot of these concerns may never happen, but I have grown to become wary. And I'm being transparent with you guys that these are things that immediately come to mind when I watch this. Also, I will say, I'm really happy that they're showing more concept art. I know for a fact there's got to be like a vault of unreleased art that they've got. And I'm really glad that they're showing more of this work in progress stuff, even though it's like really early like concepts. It's always great to see this. It's really, really good. Oh, final thing. Sorry, I completely forgot. So they say that the Witness made the Dread using the light. I'm just going to be real with you guys. To me, that makes no sense. For the simple reason where, first of all, how can you make something using the light and then it has the darkness? Now, I know the counterpoint to that. Well, dude, we were resurrected using the light and we can use the darkness. Yes, but the difference is humanity has a umbral center. We have the darkness in our core. All humans, non-guardians, can use the darkness. So when we see Scions with Strand and Stasis, I'm just a little bit, And yeah, overall, I think this is a little bit goofy. Now granted, they might explain it really well with the Final Shape, but I think they didn't really need to add in the light. I think the explanation was pretty clean by itself. We know that the Witness finalizes stuff. Also, for the record, again, the Final Shape Collector's Edition lore tells us that the Witness was doing this process. Well, actually, wait, whoa, dude, whoa. How can the Dread be made using the light if the Tormentors were in Lightfall? How were the Dread made using the light if the Tormentors were in Lightfall? And they say that they're part of the Dread. I don't know. That's a little bit... So, the reason why I'm saying this is it just kind of feels a bit kind of shoehorned in, I'm going to be completely real with you. That video that I made about the Dread comparing them to the Taken, if the Dread are not... Here's the thing, right? The Witness doesn't actually have the light. So it's just kind of messing around and experimenting. They say that it's experimenting, right? When the Witness is finalizing planets and races, it is again trying to make what it believes is like the perfect version of that. If it's just winging it with the light with the Dread, then the Dread are probably even worse in terms of the perfect vision than the non-light infused stuff that it's made, right? But furthermore, that just makes them even worse than the Taken. Because at least with the Taken, we know that they are literally perfect for the Sword Logic's final shape. These guys then are just not, comparable in that sense. So, that's my opinion on that anyway. Oh yeah, we got Mr. Paxson issuing a challenge. Well, I don't know if you remember, dude. Back in the day, when I was 19 years old, I tried to learn Egyptian hieroglyphics. Okay? He's spitting his whatever it was at me. Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do. And I'll get back to you with that. Okay, Mr. Paxton? We'll see. Challenge accepted. May the best man win. But that was kind of funny. I nearly felt like he was kind of poking at me, I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know too many other people that like go digging into trying to translate and decipher what's being said. But I see how it is. Mr. Paxson. Again, like I said at the start, I think no matter what the final shape ends up being like when we get it, there can be no argument. I will not tolerate any argument that they did not try their best with this. I think it's very clear that they did. And I think what it's going to come down to, from a story perspective, is if I really dislike it, it's going to come down to me feeling like it shifted too much away from the original vision. And I know that for some people that might sound a bit annoying, but I do believe that there are some core parts of the lore. As I interpret them, this is the time, hopefully, for answers about all that. So, we'll see. But anyway, that's everything that I can say about the Vidoc. I know I did a whole TED Talk, but yeah, it is what it is.